Guys, today's podcast is in partnership with Stone & Co Solicitors, experts in serious and complex criminal matters. If you have a criminal matter that you need help with or you've been arrested and want the best representation, contact the number below or drop them an email. All the information is on the screen below, as you can see. Stone & Co can offer specialist criminal defense services on a private basis or legal aid, so you don't pay nothing. And as a promotional offer, they're offering a case review in person or over the phone, free of charge, no obligation, no fees, and they'll take a look at your case, guys. Welcome to the Kicking Up Dust Media YouTube channel, guys. Today I've got a special guest. I've got an OG from my neighborhood, someone who I grew up with. He's much older than me, but someone who kind of like is from the foundations of our community. Lived a life on the street, and then Islam came in his life, and we're going to get into it, inshallah. But to introduce him, Nasruddin from Reading. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam, akhi. Kayfa halak?
How you doing, man?
Alhamdulillah, hayakum wallah.
I thought, what, let me finally get you onto the show, man.
Yeah, for real,
You understand what I mean, Because, growing up, like, you were one of the first revert Muslims that I remember seeing.
Sir.
You and I think about 3 or 4 other brothers.
Sir.
You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
And you used to come to our local cultural masjid.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
And obviously, like, because the masjid was so cultural, we felt no connection with them guys, because they were just, uncles in our community. Alhamdulillah, they done what they needed to do for the community, built masjids.
No, in terms of them establishing masjids and what have you, we can't knock their efforts.
Exactly, And the sad thing is, I heard a brother kind of really speaking negatively about the older uncles in our community. And I said, we have to be fair. Like, they came from villages in mountains in Pakistan, like secluded from the. To this day, some of them places ain't got phone lines. You understand what I mean?
Some have no electric.
So could you imagine 50, 60 years ago? And whatever. I said, alhamdulillah, came here with no English, no education. They established masajid all over the country. The slaughterhouses, the halal slaughterhouses, established. They done. They laid foundations, alhamdulillah, for us. They made mistakes, like we are making mistakes. You understand what I mean? But we should be careful in our criticism, I feel,
Well, you see, when people precede us in Islam and Salah and Amal Saleh, we have to show them respect, even though they've made mistakes. And it's taken me some time to mature into this kind of thinking still.
Definitely,
But again, because of other people's influences and listening to other people's opinions and ideas, I formulated some kind of negative, stereotypic opinions about some of the elders that I don't carry today. I don't carry those opinions.
I think with maturity, opinions change sometimes, And as I was saying, sorry, before I got into that, is so we wasn't really connected to the people inside the masjid from our community, because they had no idea how we were living. We were young, 11, 12, 13, getting pulled in different directions, identity crisis, you understand what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
And whatever. So alhamdulillah, with you brothers though, like, we liked when you brothers came in the masjid. Like, we liked it. We're going to get into that later anyway, like in more detail, but we liked it, because remember one of the brothers, I don't say his name because he might, he used to show us how to do karate in the mosque and whatever, the fly kicks and all that.
Yeah, I do remember, yeah.
Yeah, you remember him, innit? Alhamdulillah. Good brother, mashallah. Suleiman, so.
Yeah, he won't mind.
Yeah, he won't mind, inshallah. But what's it called? So he was, so I remember them days, it must have been like 11, 12. Because what year did you become Muslim?
I started looking around, I won't say my age, I don't want no one doing the math here, I think I started looking around
the year?
I started looking around 87.
When did you take the Shahada?
I took Shahada 1991.
Yeah, because I them days, what I'm talking about, it was probably about 93.
Yeah, so we were probably like 3 years in by that time.
Yeah, so you were a bit established.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the beginning, get into just where you come from originally, your parents and stuff like that, and we take it from there, inshallah. So where were you born, where's your parents from, and so on and so forth?
So originally, I was born in Reading, A lot of the Caribbean people that came, the Windrush generation, because they were kind of Christian orientated, most had big families because they weren't like using contraception, and the contraception boom hadn't taken place then. So they were like huge families. People had 5 and 6 children. So my parents emanated from Barbados, but I identify myself today as an African. And since I've been conscious of myself, I identify as an African, because when we were younger people, we weren't allowed to like express ourselves as Caribbean people. Like we were told not to speak patois, speak the Queen's English. But I was always a critical thinker, and you're going to hear this phrase come up a lot in this conversation. I was always a critical thinker and wonder why I wasn't allowed to do certain things. So yeah, my parents came from the Caribbean in the 50s, and you know, like I was born here. I won't say which year because people will do the math. And
let's just say, mashallah, the brother looks good for his age. Let's just say that.
Jazakallah khair.
Allah Mubarak. Say Allah Mubarak, guys.
Allah Mubarak.
Just a quick question. You know, did you know, sorry, not question, but did you know that, from what I understand, that the biggest Bayesian community from Barbados, outside Barbados, is in Reading?
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's I never realized that until the
You see, what it is, people that were pioneers that came first, other people just followed them naturally. So a lot of the Jamaican come to London and Birmingham, and a lot of the people from St. Vincent, they went to High Wycombe. So where the people settled en masse, people followed their predecessors. So that's how that kind of happens still.
So you know what, this is one thing I've always been interested, obviously because I know you so well, you know, and I've always been interested because I grew up obviously in the 80s, 90s. You grew up before that. How was it as a child growing up, you know, in them days, in an environment of obviously coming to in a country that was quite, you know, not welcoming, you could say?
Yeah, well, you know, people have to appreciate that when the people came from the Caribbean, they had some really strange mindsets. Like they were kind of subservient because of the remnants of the slave trade. And they kind of looked up to the white people, like the white people could do no wrong. And you had all this white iconology in the religion that was forced upon us, the Christianity. So automatically the black people, they had this kind of subservient vibe. So we were kind of culturally illiterate because the African got taken out of us in slavery. So we didn't have any, we didn't have a cultural compass in terms of being able to look back and say, well, obviously now you're from Pakistan and you can look back at the Pakistani culture and you've got things in your culture that's praiseworthy. You understand? Well, our culture, we got raped. You understand? We got culturally sodomized. Everything got stolen from us. So we were like blank canvases to the point where some of us used to laugh at Africans, bro. You understand? And as Al-Hajj Malcolm X said, you won't find a person hating the leaves on a tree and the branches until he starts to hate the trunk, and then he'll hate the roots.
I think an important point, what I think also as well is not just the fact that he got raped and pillaged, because obviously, let's remember they raped and pillaged a lot of other places, but I think with the people in the Caribbean, they were displaced from their homeland.
Yeah.
They got stripped of their identity. Because look, they pillaged India, like Pakistan, before it was Pakistan, but we still remained on the land.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean? So you could still trace back your lineage or whatever. But with what happened with the African, I think it was West Africans, right?
Yeah, yeah.
The slave trade or whatever, they ripped their identity away from them where they couldn't trace it back to who they was.
And this is one of the engineering that they had to control the minds of the people. Because there was a lady called Harriet Tubman, and she was in North America, and she was known for something called the Underground Railroad, where she used to free enslaved people. And she said, I would have freed many more people had they known they were slaves. They didn't even know they were slaves.
They were born into it.
They were so accustomed.
It was like normal, isn't it?
Generation after generation born into this system that they didn't even know they were slaves.
Yeah, because think about it, if you're born into it, you don't know nothing else.
Nobody's going to tell you anything different.
Exactly.
Mass ain't going to come tell you anything different.
So how was it growing up, like, you know, as you know, early teens and, you know, stuff like that, in that type of environment? And obviously I know racism played a big part in probably your life as well and whatever. So just, you know, I'm trying to like get a picture of how it was for you guys, because it's pre-mobile phones, pre-everything really what we have now. It was there. So obviously I know you kind of fell into the roads and stuff like that, and you could touch on what you want to touch on. You don't have to go into details or whatever. But just like give me kind of like a breakdown from, like, you know, from being like 11 up to like 16, 17, just the mindset and, you know, stuff like that.
Well, I think I have to go back slightly earlier than that.
As far as you want, bro.
Like days of like primary school.
Yeah.
I knew there was something different about being black in this society because they let you know you were black. So you go in the paper shop in the morning and the woman in the shop, good morning, sunshine. And then when I got older, I realized, because my skin is tan, she's calling me sunshine. You know, there's slights, but you don't realize until you get older.
You're a kid, yeah.
Little did she know I was nicking all the sweets from the stuff. But yeah, I was aware that I was different from the other people. And in assembly, I was the only one that was clapping in time when we had to clap. I was the only one clapping in time. But yeah, I knew that there was a difference between myself and the other people. And we used to try and assimilate without even realizing.
Trying to fit in.
Yeah, trying to fit in. And you would never fit. You know, like you got a jigsaw puzzle when you're trying to put a piece where it don't go. It always felt like that, even like from them young ages. But when we left primary school and went to secondary school, we went to a secondary school that had a lot of race problems.
Which school was that?
It was a place called Alfred Sutton.
Okay.
The elders then will know about this thing.
I heard of it, but I never.
Yeah, a lot of race problems. And we began to become more aware that we were different culturally. And some of the teachers were racist. So imagine you're being educated by racist people. So the racism became stark and like you knew you were different. So.
And what about the fellow like students and stuff?
Yeah, we had type of skinhead guys that were in the school that had to get beat down and put in their place. We had other schools, because this school was a predominantly black school. We had other skinheads from other schools that used to come down to try and fight with us. Like hundreds of men would gather up from the other schools and come to fight this kind of black orientated school.
Where was the school placed?
It was in, Crescent Road. Crescent Road.
Oh, Crescent Road, yes.
You know, down by
Junction.
Junction side. Yeah, down there.
Okay, is that way? Oh, there's a lot of ethnic minorities around there.
Yeah, and I think a lot of parents sent their children there because it was a kind of safety in numbers vibe.
Exactly what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it mixed Asian and black?
Yeah, there was a lot of Asians.
Because a lot of Asians in that area, innit?
Yeah, the Junction is a kind of Asian area still.
So, and that time the racism was just blatant. They would call you the NMP would in your face.
Yeah, straight. You know, there's certain areas that you couldn't go to. So now areas that we can frequent now as adults. And this is why the youth don't realise
Southcote.
Which Southcote? You're mad?
Yeah.
Go which is, listen.
Woodley, couldn't go Woodley.
Woodley, Whitley Wood, Shinfield, certain place, you can't go them places. So
Racist,
the only place where we could go was really like Junction, Palmer Park, West Reading, Prospect Park. But certain boundaries, if you go past them boundaries and you get caught slipping, you're going to get a beat down.
And everyone's aware of that them times as well.
Yeah, you knew. Don't get caught slipping.
Did you get caught slipping?
Yeah. Got licks a few times, bro.
No way. Tell me all the stories.
One of the guys that beat me down, Aki.
Yeah.
Later on, he ended up getting in my taxi, drunk from a nightclub.
No.
I won't tell you what happened next.
Seriously.
Yeah.
That's deep, man.
There's a guy that he was a racist, and he had some tattoos on his hands, skinhead and this and this. And later on in life, I ended up working in his body shop. I looked at this guy's hands. I said,
Carl spraying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I looked at this guy's hands. I've seen the same tattoos, Aki. And I'm saying, did you used to be skinhead? He goes, yeah, unfortunately. So we started talking, bro. And it was like, yeah, we give you guys a beat down. And he said, yeah, you caught me in one of the shopping centres and took me in the car park. You and a geezer called, no, I won't mention his name. And we took him in the car park and gave him a good old beating, fam. And yeah, it was the same guy. And there was another guy who he was a friend with, because these guys come from a place called Woodcut. This outside Reading. And there was a black youth. And he was a tough guy, bro. I ain't gonna lie. If brothers wanted to drop, if black guys wanted to jump this guy, you better go 3 and 4 deep.
Yeah.
Because this guy was tough, like a proper Negro, even when he was young. You know this guy, he tried to have a bath in bleach to try and take the blackness off him, bro.
Hey.
Yeah, he did. And I met him at this guy's body shop. And man remembered, man, bruv.
Because of racism that he faced.
Yeah. Yeah. Because he grew up with the white people. He used to call us black.
So he was the skinhead.
He was a skinhead, bruv.
So it was the black guy that was the skinhead with the white people.
Yes. He was one of the skinhead leaders, bruv. This is how the thing was twisted. Listen, if he caught you slipping, you black B, you N-word.
What is that? That's some sort of like psychological damage, isn't it?
Yeah, bruv. And he was so embarrassed when I met him in Donaldo. I said, don't worry about it, bro. Even the white guy said, I don't know what it was all about.
You know what's really crazy? Obviously, it was worse, much worse for your generation than it was my generation.
Yeah.
And my generation was bad enough. It was there. But like this generation today don't have a clue what it was like.
Yeah, when you mention it, it's like you're talking about some
Myth.
La La Land, bruv. Like it never happened. Like sometimes the kids, they'll say, well, my daughter asked me, she goes, Dad, can I ask you a question? This is when she was younger. I said, yeah, ask me anything. She said, when you were little, was everything in black and white? So I started laughing at like hysterics. She said, why are you laughing? I said, because you've seen black and white film, and because it's old now, you think that the world was like that back in the day. But I'm laughing like that because I asked my mother the same thing.
Exactly, yeah. It's deep. And do you think these racist experiences that you went through are people, you know what, one thing I want to quickly say to the people, you know, you're going to get viewers here that are going to get triggered just by us talking about racism.
Yeah,
They
no
get
doubt.
triggered by it. It was there. But the thing is, like, if you've got love for man, this is our biography, bro. This is what we
Standard.
lived through. It was there. So we're never going to improve the future by not taking lessons from the past, innit? It was there. So have things improved somewhat? Yes, they have. It
No
was
doubt,
there.
no doubt.
No doubt, we admit that. It was there. But there's still a lot of problems and whatever. And so, like, growing up in that type of environment, you kind of feel like not a part of the community, basically, innit? It was there.
Yeah, but the problem with that was we still felt rudderless because we didn't know our culture and we didn't know our history. So we knew we weren't wanted, and there was a type of xenophobia that nobody really wanted us here. But we didn't have a rudder because we don't know ourselves, we don't know our culture. And we've been told to love the people that had us in bondage, that destroyed us. And for the most part, we did love them without realizing. I'm not saying for anybody to hate anybody. The viewers, they can watch, they can listen, they can decide. We ain't gonna say anything that ain't true. We're just giving the narrative how it was.
But even if you look at it today, the monarchy, the British monarchy is still head of state in Jamaica, isn't it?
Yes, they are. Yeah.
So that's the head of states. It was there. So they're going to try to brainwash you to have them beliefs, isn't it, obviously?
Of course. You know, this is self-hatred. And once you've hated yourself, you're gonna love your overlord. You're gonna love your master.
So growing up, how did this have an impact on you, and like, where did this lead you down?
Black people falling into crime and black people being seen as criminals, that's a subculture. Because the majority of our parents weren't criminals. And we got kind of forced into crime without realizing. I didn't have this moment where it was like being light bulb moment, I'm going to be a criminal. One thing led to another. You know, I've mentioned to some people that when we were younger, we were poor, but people don't want to hear that. How you poor?
How you poor? They don't understand.
No, we were poor. To the point where you didn't even realize you were poor.
It's normal.
Brother, you were happy. You understand? Poor to the point where when we were small, remember, England is just recovering from the Second World War. Economically on its butt. You understand? They invited us to come here to rebuild the country. And like the Asian people. Anywhere they had colonies, because their manpower got depleted in the war, they invited our people to come here and rebuild the country. So we got tricked twice, bruv. We got colonized and enslaved, and then we came and rebuilt their thing, and now they're saying they don't want us here. The likes of Enoch Powell and their man there. So we got tricked twice.
You remember him, yeah?
I remember, yeah, I do. I do.
Proper racist, didn't he? Was.
Proper.
At least he admitted he was racist,
Yeah.
you know?
And the mad thing about Enoch Powell, bruv, is that he lived in India. He was part of the Indian British...
East African,
Yeah.
East Indian Company.
Yeah, he was a part of the British overseas attaché. He spoke Urdu fluently.
No way.
Yes way.
I never knew that, man.
That's why, again, you know, We can't be Muslims who do presentism. You just live in the present. You don't explore the past to know why things are the way they are today. You know, many things have taken. If you want to infiltrate the people, you're gonna have to learn their language. You're gonna have to know their culture. To destroy them, you have to know their inner workings. Don't think these non-Muslims that are trying to destroy Islam don't know Islam, bro. They know Islam better than some Muslims.
It's deep, man. So, obviously now you kind of like, you're on the road, you're doing what, you don't need to go into it, but you know you're doing whatever you need to do. What was the journey like from the road for what you're doing, that culture, street culture? Now you're kind of fully embedded in that now, isn't it? You're outside and what you're doing.
No, because the street culture, this being an outlaw, that started towards my mid to late teens.
Okay.
And there were older guys that I saw that I said, yo, these guys have got game. You understand? The swag them, man, they have.
You cut it afterwards, you cut the names out.
Yeah, man, like the elders like.
Okay, old school, man.
Old school, man. Like big man. Man, like. These are just names that I'm picking off the top of my head. And when I was a youth, I used to mix up with my niece's father, because he was from like Hackney, Dalston.
Okay.
So when I used to go to them ends and I see some big man that's in the game, man driving old Jensen Interceptor, and
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, bro, this is 100 bag car now in today's money.
It's called Jensen
Interceptor, yeah. I see them man there dressing like pimp and man looking sharp, bro. This man ain't working for no system, Mac. So I'm seeing these guys thinking, yeah, I want to be like that. So then you've got to get involved in what we used to call their runnings, what they do. You got to get involved in their hustle if you want to be like them.
And them days, the gangsters, they wore suits, right? Blazers.
The man was smooth, like.
It was different, isn't it?
Man, there's expensive shoes, everything expensive. Felt hats. Man would be wearing hat worth £400-500.
A different type of swag.
Yeah, swag.
So you got kind of caught up in that.
Yeah, I did. But not initially. It didn't start off with, again, it's nuance, and there were stages to man's development into this type of lifestyle, because there were other guys that I grew up that they were into like what they would have called like soul music at the time. Okay. So that was like American R&B, and there wasn't really a cultural rebelliousness to that type of music, because music affects people, bro.
100%, yeah.
You understand? What makes, well, they don't exist now, but what would make a man a skinhead in them times? The music.
Punk rocker, madness.
Yes, it's the music they listen to. And what made us Rastas? Because Bob Marley and other Rastas from Jamaica, they had a political and a spiritual persuasion. And they used to sing about this stuff. And some of the stuff they sung about concurred with the Bible, because we were Christians at the time. So I made my spiritual mistake when I rejected this white Jesus thing and this white Christianity.
That's fairly young, yeah?
Yeah, these times, because I'd like Rastas around me from when I was a young youth, like 15, 16. So maybe even younger. So I threw away the Bible because of the iconology that came with it. But I threw away the baby with the bathwater, because the Bible has got commandments. And now if you've got no commandments, you've got no spiritual structure to your life. Unless other people start talking about it and you start to resonate to what they say. So, firstly, a lot of the music that came out of the Caribbean, it wasn't really a music that was about rebellion. It was like partying.
Love and stuff like that.
Well, not even that. It was about partying and just like having a good time. Because now the people are coming out of slavery now. They just want to have a good time. They don't remember any of this stuff. So they were singing about partying and girls and this and that and the other. And a type of music developed out of Jamaica called ska. Because before that, the Jamaican singers, they used to cover old American tunes. You understand? Like Percy Sledge and all those guys, you know? But then ska music developed. And from ska, reggae developed. And a lot of the reggae music was coming from Rasta, man. And the Rastas were singing about, you're African, man. You never know King David was a black man. You never know Solomon was a black man. You didn't know Moses was a black man. You didn't know we had proud nations in Africa. So those who heard it, who had a cultural ear, we woke up and we're like, yo. Now these Europeans are telling us that when they come to Africa, we were just running around naked and we didn't have nothing. And nothing was going on for us.
So it's giving you like a sense of identity now.
Yeah. That's the thing. So in those days, most people ended up having Rasta locks, dreadlocks. They inclined towards Rasta and the Jamaican culture. So sometimes mama would say, bro, your parents ain't from Barbados, why'd you talk like that? Because I was around this thing. So that's how that thing developed. But then I had a theological crisis with Rastafarianism. Because now that I look back, I don't think I was ever a mushrik.
You believed in God?
I believed in the Creator, and I didn't believe the Creator had any partner or any image. So when a man's going to tell me Jesus is God, I can't accept that. When a man's going to tell me that Selassie, this Ethiopian king, is God, I can't accept it. If I can't accept the white God, I can't accept the black God. I can't be biased.
Do they say Selassie is God?
Some Rastas do. You know, Rastafarianism, like most religions, it's not monolithical. It's not just one thing. You get different firqa. You know, like you get Diobandi, Brielwi, Sufi. In Rasta, you get Orthodox, Shanti, Bobo Shanti, Nyabingi. There's different orders.
Okay, different group sects.
And yeah, and they've got different beliefs.
Yeah, okay.
You know? But my thing was when I used to reason with the elders, because I, astaghfirullah, don't want to make it sound like it's self-praise, but I was like, talabatul ilm, because I was always inquisitive. I was always a critical thinker. So I would go and read. Them man, they're taking their religion from the record, what they're hearing.
Okay.
But I'm going to go and read. So now when I question those guys, they didn't normally have an answer.
Okay.
So now they want you, like nowadays, with certain aspects of Islam, people want you to blind follow. I can't blind follow. You got to give me some adillah. So when I rejected the whole Rasta thing now, I've thrown away 2 religions now. So I still believe in God, but I'm rudderless now. So that's been the rude boy thing happening, the road thing, innit? So I've got no morals in it.
Rebelliousness in you as well.
Just wild, bruv. A rebel without a cause. Smoke what you want, drink what you want, sell what you want, sleep where you want, with who you want. Just a mad thing.
I can imagine, boy.
And that's how it developed, you know. In those days, if you really wanted to get a job and you didn't have the intellectual increment, you put the application form down or you ring them up and it would be a thing like, don't call us, we'll call you. Meaning, you ain't getting the job.
Yeah.
And I ain't waiting around for no job. I need to get P, fam. Because the money, it moves things. If you ain't got no P and you're in that lifestyle, you're a waste man. You know how it is.
And the music was getting more like kind of like road as well at this time, innit?
Yeah, the music, the dancehall, it changed from like this conscious Rasta, uplifting spiritual music. It changed when Bob Marley died. And I believe that the reggae music industry got infiltrated because they don't want no conscious righteousness being preached.
Definitely.
So then people like Yellow Man and these other guys, the older listeners, if they tune in, they will know what I'm talking about. These guys didn't really have a lot of good to say when it came to like morals and ethics. And certain tunes came out that would call to debauchery. You know, there's one tune that would say, gimme. And everybody likes women, bruv. Every red-blooded male likes women. So you hear this tune now, the next thing now, you're just running down womanaki. Like,
exactly, yeah. That shaitan, innit?
Yeah.
Tempting you, innit?
So it makes you evil fair seeming.
Do you remember when Bob Marley died?
I think it's around 1970, between 70 and 80. I think it was around 1980. 78, 80.
That had a massive shift on the music, you're saying?
Yeah.
Went to more kind of gangster sort of like.
Yeah.
Okay. And so when you're out there, obviously we don't need to go into details, you're running about doing all types of madness. When you were doing stuff like that, where did like the conscience of God come back? It probably never left, but I mean, what was it that kind of started making you think about the way you're living?
There were situations where and I don't want to go into any depth, but there was a lot of violence that took place, like black on black violence, and man kind of got involved and still got the war wounds to show for it and stuff. But, you know, when you've got people doing the same things, and it's the nature of humans to hate, some humans will hate, you're going to get implosions, Zach.
Definitely, yeah.
Yep. So a lot of the violence came from, and I realised after that a lot of people were hating, bruv, hating the swag, hating that man was out there. A lot of the...
That's where it usually comes from, though, to be honest.
Yeah, there's no good that comes out of it. I used to say to those guys, because my main hustle wasn't selling drugs. I used to get involved in a lot of fraud and deception.
Before I continue today's show, guys, I want to give a big shout out to Beard Boss. This is for all the people that use oil on their beards. Check out this oil. It's excellent quality. It smells absolutely amazing. All the links are in the description box below.
So a lot of my finance never came from like the drugs trade, but when things weren't kind of acquiescing on the other side, I would sell a little ting, keep the ting going. But my main flex wasn't a drug ting. As I said, at the height of all that, I still wasn't happy. And I used to kind of feel I was good at reggae rapping, bro, trust me. And
reggae was getting big them days.
Yeah, and the mad thing is, I didn't think I was good as I was. It's only after I've repented and the last guided me, man used to come and say, yo, you never knew you're so wicked. I'm like, really? He said, man, yeah, you should have bust. I can't work out why you never bust. But Allah didn't want that for me. I knew I was good, but I didn't realize I was that good. Man's even come to me, like 25 years on, singing lyrics for me verbatim, my own lyrics. How do you remember that?
Well, you should go to like the venues and
stage show and everything, bruv. So the reason why I had to mention that, one time I went Leicester Carnival to do a thing on a Leicester sound. And by this time I had become exposed to Louis Farrakhan and some of the American black conscious scene.
Nation Islam.
Yeah. And the Nubian movement, Dr. York and those guys. And I went to Leicester Carnival and I'm working in one song and I'm just nicing up the place, you know. And I felt this tap on my back. I've looked now, it's my cousin. I hadn't seen this joke for about 10 years, bro.
Yeah.
I must have been about 22, 23 at the time. And last time I saw I was about 12, 13. And she was saying, yeah, you know, my husband's going to be mad that I come carnival, you know. So when you come back to my place after carnival, just kind of allow him still. I just stick on him. Yeah. I was like, cuz I can't let him boy you up. I've gone around her house after this carnival scene, you know, head full up her weed, you know, high. Gone round there, and we're sitting in the sitting room, and she goes, he's upstairs. I say, anytime the boy come down, I'm going to stick it on him, bruv. Listen, when the man came down the stairs and opened the sitting room door, the man have on a lily white thobe, you know, bruv. And he's got on an imama. And this guy's black, but he's glowing. And all this stuff about going to stick it on him, it's just left. It's like somebody opened up the Bible page and he walk out, bruv. He's walked out the Bible.
Especially them days as well.
Them days. Mm-hmm. You understand me? I said, round fierce. So the man said, yo, I'm vexed with your cousin, you know, because this carnival's not our thing. So he went through the whole thing that carnival's Mardi Gras. It's from the Portuguese. And I was like, you're right, you know.
Was he Muslim or what?
He was Muslim. So we got into discussion about what Mardi Gras was, because I knew Mardi Gras was a thing that the Portuguese used to practice. So what they used to do, once a year, they'll have a festival just based upon pure drunkenness and debauchery. Have you ever seen them thing where they have on these masks?
Yeah, I've seen that.
The men and the women have it on. They used to have this festival where they would go into a place and cut the candles. So it's complete darkness. And whoever you grab, that's your thing, male or female. And they'll have these mass orgies, bruv. Wicked.
That's where it comes from.
That's where it comes from. So now, what the Portuguese did, when they enslaved the Africans in Brazil, they mixed up this Portuguese thing with the African drum. So if you listen to samba music, you can hear the African identity in the samba music, even the dancing. when you go carnival, Europeans don't dance like that, Aki, with all that hip movement and all them twerking and rearing. This African thing, bruv. So this thing got merged over the centuries with slavery. So this carnival culture, it came out of Brazil and swept through the Caribbean. You understand? So he's saying, this is not our festival. So I was like, you know what? I ain't going to no more carnivals, bruv. I'm done with this thing, you know. So then, Aki, the brother sat down and he taught me about the incident between Adam and Eve and Shaitan, Surah Al-Baqarah.
The same brother, yeah?
The same brother. But by this time I already had a Quran because of this Nation of Islam thing. But I find it difficult to read it up until this point.
Okay.
So I used to see the names of Moses and Jesus in the English translation. But because the Quran wasn't chronological like the Bible, you get an ayah from there, and I get mixed up.
Make sense of it.
But I knew it was Haqq. Why? Because I saw the names of the prophets that I believed in.
Were you actually ever officially Nation of Islam?
Nearly.
Nearly, okay.
Because they had a centre down in Gold Oak Road over Shepherd's Bush side.
Okay.
And I used to go down there and reason with them, man. They nearly got the bow tie act. Nearly got the bow tie. But yeah. So this brother told me about the story of Adam and Eve and the Shaitan. And looking back now, I think that's when Iman enters my heart. And the hater that I was with, that I ended up with a drama later on, I said to this punk, I'm going to be Muslim one day. He said, what do you want to do that for? I say, you never hear what the man say. But Aki, some people are tuned in, some people ain't.
Yeah.
I believe that's when Iman enters my heart. But you see, the weekend used to keep coming around too quick.
Yeah, partying again.
Partying, bruv. Yeah, weed, other substances. You understand? And being gassed like a musical celebrity. Aki, when you're on the stage and you're rapping and people are cheering for you, listen, that's a feeling like you scored a goal in the FA Cup.
Definitely.
That's a mad feeling. I wouldn't get arrogant with it, but I done that. I've got the people in my hand.
Yeah.
You understand? I can rap. I can make them cheer. I can speak consciousness. I make them resonate with that. So yeah, that was a thing, you know. So I think I was around 24, 25 when I got my first Quran. So this happened when I was about 26, 27. Anyway, I got into an altercation with the same hater. Yeah, so anyway, after this altercation, I was like, say this little rodent would have killed man, bruv. You understand? Because anybody can kill anybody, you know, brother.
True, yeah.
So my thing was, if I'd have went to God the way that I was living, God wouldn't have been pleased with me. So now, the first port wasn't even the Bible, the Quran, bruv. I went back to the Bible. I'm not reading it at Sunday school vibe because I have to. I'm reading it because I want to. I'm searching now spiritually. And stuff's jumping out of this book that don't make sense. I'm like, the Bible's telling the Christian don't do Christmas, but they're doing it. The Bible's telling them don't eat pork, but they're eating pork. So a lot of the things that the Bible's saying, the Christian ain't doing. So I've gone back to revisit the theology of Christianity, why I rejected it. And I thought, you know, bun that. So I've gone to the Quran now. And slowly I started to read the Quran and start to understand a little bit more. So praise be to Allah that there was brothers that came maybe a few months, a few years before me, man like Suleiman. Anytime I used to see him walking past my crib, I would run out the house, you know, bruv. If I see him coming, you know, I'd run out the house because he embraced before me. And I started asking him certain questions. Why are you wearing them clothes? Why you do this? Why you do that? What Muslim belief? And he would always give me answers that I couldn't refute. And then I kind of used to buck up my jihad sometime and ask him certain questions. And the answers they would give me, I was like, you know, I ain't got no choice. I've got to get on with this thing, brother.
Mujahid took the Shahada before you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I realised that.
Yeah. So, yeah, praise be to Allah that those brothers, you know, they were vessels that Allah used so certain brothers could see other, like, black man on this thing. Because, bruv, man got a lot of hate from the black community when I reverted.
Seriously?
Come on, bruv. Imton, Paki and all kind of madness. Yeah, I'm mad man, brother. One man say me name Patel. Patel, you know, bruv.
Wait, Patel, yeah.
Man, call me Patel, bruv. He might have him head wrap up like Patel, you know, when he wear turban.
Yeah,
Because he wear turban back in the day.
Yeah, the Imama.
Yeah, man. Yeah, fuck. I want you to say that next time. My man, I say, so and so how we dressed. We see him how we dressed thobe, innit?
At that time, there wasn't many reverts, so that must have been a massive thing.
For me, not so much them man there, because them man there, they weren't really kind of affiliated in the community like I was.
Okay.
So when I become a Muslim, because remember Abdul Malik, that's Prince.
Okay, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
he was Muslim from dot, fam. I used to hear about them man there when I was a youth man, Isaac Hussein, this Hussein, that Hussein. I say, why them man there take them Pakistani? Yeah, for real.
That's how you think.
Yeah, because I didn't know any better, but them man they was Muslim from dot, but they never used to kind of wear thobe and thing like that. You understand? So when man started to wear thobe and thing, that was like a betrayal act. Yeah.
He's completely turned.
Treason. It's like treason.
MashaAllah. So, when you turned Muslim, how was it like turning Muslim? And I just could imagine 30 odd years ago, it must have been like, obviously, we have now knowledge via the internet, books, CDs, everything, it was there. So I just couldn't imagine where you would go to buy a book from to learn.
Well, the mad thing is, one of my elder sisters, and I just qualify this now, we don't make no apology to people, blood or not blood. She don't talk to me, bruv. As soon as I embrace Islam, switch. She calls me Ayatollah, you know, like Khomeini.
Well, she stopped talking to you because you turned Muslim?
Yep, she might make up some other excuses, but this is a reason.
Wow.
May Allah make me Ayatollah, I mean.
Because Ayatollah means a sign of Allah, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Not like this Khomeini thing.
Yeah, not the Iranian guy. No.
You understand? But she's just on this madness because she's seen that on the media.
Yeah. So
and now she's equated me
stereotype.
To that. Yeah. And just Jahil, bruv. And the Jahil just bred some hatred in this woman. But the mad thing is, she went Trinidad, I think it was 1980, 82. In them 80s time anyway, she went Trinidad. Yeah. And she brought back some literature from the Ansar cult. Well, what I knew to be the Ansar cult later on. Dr. York. Because he was talking about we Nubians, we're in Africans, we're Nubians. And in the books, he'd have drawings of Moses and Jesus and Abraham. And everybody's black. You know them ones?
Yeah.
And everybody's wearing thobe and everybody look good. And he's talking about wudu and so on and certain. So I'm saying, I'm on this. I'm on that. But in a way, you gave me an introduction to a kind of Islam.
Okay. This is before you took the Shahada, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
So blame yourself.
Because that made your mind like, yo, what's this?
Yeah, it's a trigger. You understand? So if you're hating, hate yourself for giving me them books. But a lot of guys who wishes that.
So once you turned Muslim, you more or less left everything Jahiliyyah alone, innit? And start practicing more or less immediately. Yeah,
it was kind of a 360.
How did you learn where to pray and stuff?
The mad thing is this. Let me give you this part first. You know, my mother, who I love dearly, you know, and I miss her like, whoa.
May Allah give her the highest part.
I mean, like she embraced Islam when she was 60, bruv.
May Allah
understand?
Bless her, man.
60, you know, brother. So it's never too late. And we just make it for the record now. Our call is to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to the worship of the Supreme Creator, following the legislation that he laid down upon his Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the last of the messengers. That's our thing. We ain't calling to no nationalism or no black thing or no. This thing's open to all of humanity. This is a thing that's going to save the human on the day of reckoning. So we got to spread this thing, Aki. It's not exclusive. The thing's inclusive.
Everyone.
We want to reach everybody. You understand? So I used to like read the Quran to my mum in the night time, bro. SubhanAllah. Yeah, let me compose myself still. I used to read the Quran to my mum in the night time. And all the time she was taking it and I didn't realise. And I used to wake up in Tahajjud and cry for my mum, bro.
To take the Shahada? Yeah,
because I know why my mother got hellfire. My mum's good people, bro. You understand? So one evening I went to one lecture, one brother called, one of the older brothers from Brixton, oh man, I forgot the brother's name, man. He used to be with Abu Sufyan, Abdul Ghaffar. So Abdul Ghaffar, he done one little talk we invited him to in a local community centre in Reading. And he said, when I repented, my mum said, I've got my son back. So I remember telling my mum the same thing a couple of evenings after. And she said, so what do you think? I never got my son back.
What's deep in it?
Bro, listen. Yo, me get sad when she said that, you know. That inconsideration that I have for my mother, brother. So all the time I'm out there getting on like some wild jungly act. She's at home crying, Aki. You understand?
How many brothers were you?
One brother, 4 sisters.
Oh, one brother.
And nobody's wild, Aki, just me.
Just you, yeah.
So there's times when you're coming after war and them thing there. And like you put no blood on the walls where you're drunk and stuff. Going up the stairs to the bathroom and blood will drip off of you and you put blood on the walls and all that. And then your mother comes see that and have to clean it off. And you're her child, brother, and you're just oblivious.
It's deep, man.
And then police will come at the house to look for me and, bruv, nothing no good come out of that life.
Nothing.
Nothing. So she said, yeah, I got my son back. And then a few weeks after that, she said, I want to take my shahada. I said, you sure? She said, yeah, I'm sure. Shahada. I said, no, you don't do it like that. She thought you have to just keep saying shahada, you know? Okay, so I took her through the testament, she testified, bro, and that was it. She died when she was 76.
I remember the funeral, man.
Yeah.
I brought the coffin and the...
Yeah, Jazakumullah khair. Yeah.
I remember that, yeah. That was about 12, 13 years ago now, isn't it?
2009, I think.
Yeah.
I think it was a year before we went Umrah.
Yeah, 14 years now, 15 years. I remember that still.
Deep, man.
But mashallah, took the shahada, had a long life.
Yep.
Had a good life, good woman, man.
Yeah, prayed and everything, bro.
I know.
Ramadan, everything.
You see what is from that like generation of like people, especially, you know, from what I saw, from that generation of the West Indian community, they were God-fearing.
Of course.
My next door neighbour, you know, TC's mum.
Yeah.
You know her, innit, right?
Proper Christian,
you know, and never changed.
Even to the way she wear there, she won't show her hair in public and all that.
Never changed.
Never changed,
nothing,
no.
You know, and she's been my neighbour for how many, 30 years or something. She was my neighbour for, you know. So I noticed that they were always God-fearing.
Yeah.
So if you take the message to them in the right way,
perchance,
there's a chance they accept it, man, because they already believe.
The Prophet ﷺ said, the Ahlul Kitab, the people of the book, the people of the previous scripture, they attained 2 rewards. One, because they believed in the earlier prophets and their scriptures, and now they believed in me. So there's 2 rewards to be had.
It's deep, man.
Yeah.
You know when we were growing up as little kids, you know the little masjid in my neighbourhood, the tiny, the house. Actually, look how small that was.
Actually, that was nice, you know.
Actually, but you know what, looking back, look how small that, it was a tiny 3-bedroom terraced house that they turned into a masjid.
Yeah.
I remember we used to go there, yeah. But like I said, you know, I'm a person, I like to see the good and not concentrate on negative, you know.
Yeah. No, a lot of good came out of there.
A lot of good came out of there. Don't get me wrong, we used to get lashes in there.
I remember seeing you guys get beat down.
We used to get beat down.
The Maulvi with the grey beard, innit?
Yeah, man, I gave him the highest part. I mean, you know, he was a good man.
The man that proceeded us upon righteousness.
You know, they didn't know how to deal with us because we were wiling out. You know, it was there, and they're like, that's not from their culture to wile out. You know, it was there. Man's all swearing at the imam and whatever. So you're gonna get licks. And then obviously the way it was back then was that even like the elder, you don't have to be the imam. Even the elder could give you licks, give you a slap and them things. Then was there. So for us, like, we didn't want to be there in the masjid because we equated the masjid with licks. So you understand, that's what we equated it with. It was there, and obviously because of, look, it's come a long way now. The way they teach has come a long way.
Yeah.
But them times, read. It was there. You make a mistake, getting a slap. You know, it was there. For the legs. Yeah. And whatever. And like I said, I don't hold no grudges, nothing for that.
They didn't know any better, man.
They didn't know. Actually, you know what it is? We ain't punks, innit? We understand the world is not perfect. It was there, so they were, what their intentions was good, even though they done, you know, the way they went around certain things wasn't good. So I remember, man did not want to be in that place. So you wanted to come out of this place. You know, it was there, like, this is just lashes. You're fighting out on the streets. You know, it was there. You're getting lashes at home. So everywhere you're just catching lashes. It was there. So in a way, it was kind of a recipe for disaster. It was just a recipe, was, because you're getting hard on that. But I remember when you brothers used to come to the masjid, you, Suleiman, Mujahid and stuff like that, like they were so harsh on us, the elders. So you were definitely not welcome. You understand what I mean? They wouldn't welcome us. You understand what I mean? They were just so, it was just the culture, I think.
It took a while for them to mellow, and they did.
Yeah, they did mellow, 100%.
Rahimahullah. Man. This man, Aki, he was racist, bruv.
Okay,
but in the end, he was our brethren, bruv.
Look at that, man. They believed in a tough love. That was their thing. There. I remember I heard a khutbah one time. A brother was giving a khutbah to a Pakistani community. And it was so true what he said. He goes, the brother was giving the speech, he said, can you believe in this community there is kids here, their fathers never told them, I love you, son. And I was like, that's 100% true. It was there, because it wasn't from my kind of culture, you could say.
Yeah, not expressive like that.
Yeah, it's not expressive like that. It's like kind of like a punk thing.
Yeah, I've said to a lady recently, you have to tell your picnic them you love them,
100% you have to.
And we don't do that. We have to start doing it. You know what I mean? It's not a hard thing. And up until today, I haven't witnessed it.
So from that time when he was 11, 12, so whenever man would see you lot, it was always like a respect thing, innit? It was there and whatever, whatnot.
Really?
Yeah, because it was always, come on, because remember, like, we were lost, but we would go mosque for Jummah sometimes. We would go for the 27th night.
And
you can see man there, innit? You understand what I mean? So it was always like...
I used to see you guys sometimes when iftar time.
Exactly,
Ramadan,
yeah. So if brother, I might have to cut this out. I'll tell you this now, yeah. So in the early days,
I remember, I might be able to tell you.
In the early days, we're like 11, 12 now, innit? So when you guys would be there eating, some of them old guys, they'd be cursing.
Yeah.
And we'd feel bad, innit? Like, yo, why are you cursing these man for? You know, was there. But bro, we can't, they mash us up. You know, was there. We can't say nothing to them. They're brock man up. And whatever. They're like big men, we're like little kids and that. But as ignorance, innit? It was there. And alhamdulillah, the community's come a long way now.
Yeah, for real. I mean, one of those guys that used to attend the iftar, I remember one time he just gave me a plate with rice on it.
Yeah.
Expecting me to ask for the meat. But I can see what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's criminal, bruv. I can see what you're trying to do. So when I ask, then you can embarrass me.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, look, fam, when I yam sauce or rice, I don't eat rice just like that. And plus, I got food at home. I came here to pray, and somebody's invited me to eat. If you don't want me to eat with you, it's not a problem. No, brother, I don't mean it like that. No, but I know what you meant. No, stay, brother, stay. I'm staying fi sabilillah, because right now I'm vexed. I'm only staying for Allah. You understand? You know that same man, bruv, he had some people living in his house. He had houses. He had some tenants that was roughing him up, bruv. And I've had to go around the yard on my ones and put them out, bruv. You understand?
See how it comes around?
You see, the next Eid that come now, the man come push £50 in my hand, screw up. He said, son, this is ED. I don't know, what's ED? I never know about ED.
That's an Asian thing.
Yeah, saying give me £50. And when we look now, I said, blows and skirts. The man give me a 50. You understand? But then me and him was all right. And a few months after that, he died.
Lack of knowledge, ignorance and stuff.
But
like
I don't carry nothing for them, man, bro.
You know what is? You see what is? You see, like with man, because I've been through that. You know, like that severe racism. We've had to poke man up and do madness over racism. So, like this type of racism, there's no doubt there's a level of like jahilness to it, ignorance. Just what I mean. It could be resolved with education. Just what I mean?
Yes,
it could be resolved with education from the deen.
Knowledge remove ignorance.
Yeah, knowledge remove ignorance. You understand what I mean? So sometimes, you know, like I'm talking about racism with certain people from like this generation. I'm like, bro, do you understand what racism is? It was there. Like, do you understand like what I went through because of racism? It was there. And I managed to do things that I didn't want to do over racism. It was there. I said, this type of ignorant racism, let's not add fuel to the fire. It was there. Let's try to educate. You understand what I mean?
You know, if we look closer to home and if we're honest, we have racism in the Muslim community still, bro.
100%, bro. And that's why the Quran,
Islam cures racism.
Everything.
It cures racism.
Exactly.
If Islam's practiced correctly, it will cure racism. Even if racism slips back into you, as it sometimes does. You make general statements, it will slip back in. But Islam practiced correctly, it make you get that out of your heart real quick. You realize, I shouldn't have said that or shouldn't have this view. And you get rid of it real quick because you can't be a good Muslim and be a racist.
Actually, look at, the issue of racism was so deep. The last sermon of the Prophet ﷺ, it was, look what he mentioned, colour.
Yeah,
man is better than the other black over white and, so on and so forth. That's what a big topic was, because that's a divide of the people, actually. It divides the people, whatever.
Well, it's interesting that we're revisiting this because off camera we were talking about the racism that resides amongst the Muslims. And you were saying something about the far right. They hate us, no doubt. And the far right media, it governs the thoughts of the people in this land. And one of the things where I'm kind of pleased what the brothers in Caversham are doing, they've got a lot of white reverts with them now.
A lot, yeah. Mashallah.
And mashallah tabarakallah. And not because we're praising white people over other people, but I find it not surprising people from the global south embracing Islam or to be on some type of spiritualism, Christianity or whatever, even as battle. They look towards something, but when your nest is feathered like Europe, why do you need to believe in God? You're not suffering. Nothing now go on for you. Nothing bad's not going on for you. So God becomes wiped out of the equation because of the education system and secularism.
They think they are God.
Yeah. In some instances. But deep down, the regular Joe bloggers on road, if they hear this thing presented correctly, I feel many more of them will become Muslim.
100%.
And I believe it's our duty because we live in their space. We're living in Europe. We're living in England. I believe it's our duty to carry the message more to the people that reside in this land. Because if we don't tell them, nobody else ain't going to.
One thing I will say to the Muslims, in the UK especially, this is our place, this is where we're from. We're from the UK. And, we could say Europe as well, America, Canada, Australia, whatever. I will say this. I will say, look, number one, our religion, it teaches us to be good with people. Whether Muslim or not Muslim.
Or not.
That's our religion teaches that, be good with people. But we can't deny and take away the fact now there seems to be a systematic plan and approach to demonize the Muslims in the UK, and I'm sure it's happening all over Europe and other places. And it's so deep where it seems to be now government sponsored. Suella Braverman, Rishi Sunak, kind of really painting out the Muslims to be the boogeyman. The dangerous person. And they're doing it, and they're doing it blatantly. Look, for example, Sadiq Khan has been overtaken by Islamists. They well know they know that's a lie. So what I will say to the Muslims, look, we can't help that. They're doing what they need to do. That's what they're evil at the end of the day. You understand what I mean? They want to use us as bait. Whatever they're doing, we don't know. You understand? But we as Muslims, we have to recognize that. We have to recognize what they're doing. These people are psychopaths, and they're triggering, and they're kind of like charging the people against us. It was there.
Well, sorry to interject, but it's not even a segue. Really, it's revisiting the Pharaonic system. Pharaoh and Haman, they gassed the people, the cops of Misr, Egypt at the time, to hate the believers.
Exactly, yeah.
And it's the same kind of methodology applied today. So the people on the top, the politicians, the rulers, they need the masses to lead. They need to lead someone. If they have no masses, there's no one to lead.
Exactly.
So what they do, they mislead the masses and they use the believers as pawns.
And this is exactly my point, what I wanted to say to the Muslims, and a message to all the Muslims, especially in the UK, that we need to get over this race thing. We're in the UK, we're not in Pakistan, we're not in India, we're not in Somalia, Africa, we're in the UK. Alhamdulillah, we have here now a very strong, community, Pakistani, Bangladeshi, Somali, Black Revert, White Revert, Indian Muslims, Gujaratis, Moroccans, Yemenis. We have like
Gambians,
Senegalese. You know what I mean? So we have like, I don't know, maybe 20, 30, 40, 50 nationalities of Muslims, and 10 of them nationalities have strong communities now. So this is my personal belief. What I believe, that we should encourage interracial marriages within the community now. Because look, like I said, we're not in Asia and Africa no more, bro. This is our dynamic here in the UK. We have to, the Prophet ﷺ, what did he used to do? He used to marry into other tribes and stuff like that to strengthen their situation and whatever.
You find even the medieval history of Europe, you find Henry VIII marrying Catherine of Aragon. So now France and Spain, England and Spain, they have a bond. You understand? So if the Muslims can get over this hurdle, because, you know, the thing that united the companions was simply Islam, the Quran and the Sunnah.
Yeah.
The Quran as taught by the Prophet ﷺ, and the practical application of the theology that the Prophet ﷺ came with. And there were different tribes, different nations, people from different ethnic hues and different ethnic appearances that came together, and what united them was the Tawheed and that submission to the Sharia, the legislation. That's what made those people together. So why can't it be like that today?
Bro, I'll be honest with you, like...
So that's what the call should be, because if these people ever flip the script on us, you think they're just coming for Pakistanis?
So for everyone.
Everybody, they're coming for everybody. In fact, they've come for everybody thus far. There's things happening that people aren't aware of.
So I think like we really need to get over this whole, he's black and he's Asian and he's this, he can't marry this and he can't, we need to get over that.
We need a unity.
If a man's Muslim, whether he's black, Asian, white, if he's Muslim, he prays 5 times a day, there's no problem in marrying your daughter to that person. There's no problem marrying your son to that person. And like I said, and wallahi, this would strengthen the ummah.
The ties, yeah.
Do you understand what I mean? And even that, akhi, is an example to the rest of the Muslim world. Imagine as Muslims in the UK are example to the Muslim world. Do you understand what I mean? So when them families in Pakistan or Somalia or Gambia, they start like, right, these guys are married intermarrying. Actually, that's how you learn about other cultures. Do you understand what I mean? What's the ayah in the Quran? I created you as nations.
Tribes and nations.
Nations, so you get to know each other. Do you understand what I mean? And whatever. And actually, this thing is, people need to really kind of like get over this thing now. Like, so to me, it's like, bro, you're just 50 years behind still.
More.
You know, if you still have that mentality. You understand what I mean? But moving on, Naz, let me kind of like ask you a few questions about, you know, the current affairs, what's going on right now in, you know, the world and whatnot. Like, one thing I've noticed now is this double standard that sadly our government in the UK, on one hand, you know, Ukraine is fighting an oppressor, blah, blah, blah. But the Palestinians is just like, they deal with them like, nah, just leave that alone, that's nothing, you know? And they're helping with the genocide, you know? Like, what is going on and what's your position on this stuff?
I do believe that history has to be revisited. And I keep harping onto this. Don't be a person that deals with presentism. This thing didn't start on the 7th of October. This Ukrainian thing never started recently. You know, the Western Europeans, we'll deal with the Russia thing first. We'll try and keep it as brief as possible because there's a lot of information concerning this topic. The Central and Western Europeans do not see the Russians as fellow Europeans. This is just how it is. So when Adolf Hitler used to refer to the Eastern Europeans, he used to call them the Mongol hordes, meaning they're from Genghis Khan.
Okay.
Yeah. Because Genghis Khan and those guys were up in those regions and there were khanates in Russia. You understand?
Okay.
A khanate is a kingdom that was ruled by one of the khans. And those khans later on, they became Muslims. So these khanates, they were Muslim regions. So they don't really view the Russians as fellow Europeans. And they've always viewed the Russians as being lesser than them as Europeans, like, I don't want to say subhuman, but it could almost be understood like that. So the whole thing with Ukraine is, after the Second World War, the Soviets took the eastern part of, or west of Berlin, and they call this thing the Iron Curtain. And the Soviets ruled these lands and had these lands as satellites. When the Soviet Union fell, these places became nation states again, and they found their heritages back, and the Soviet Union, its borders moved back towards Russia. Now the Americans, they controlled, and the British controlled the western sector of Berlin. And this North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, they said to the Russians, they promised the Russians, we won't move an inch past East Berlin. But now they're up in Ukraine. They lied.
So Putin's taking now like an issue to that, basically.
Well, even up to the point where they had this Minsk agreement. I don't know if you've heard of that.
No.
They had a conference where they had an understanding that America wouldn't try and involve Ukraine in NATO. But Angela Merkel and some other Shiatine that were with her, they said, oh, we only tricked Putin so Ukraine could build itself into an army. So if we did take the NATO's border up to the Russian borders, then the Ukrainians would have an army strong enough to fight against the Russians. But the Ukrainians and the Russians, they're similar people. Mm-hmm. So the reason why Putin hasn't wired out totally is because these are like our cousins.
Yeah.
If Putin want to wild out, who's going to stop him?
Exactly. Yeah.
So he's been very, he's acting under restraint. Mm. And he warned these people from 2014, behave yourself, you know. Because if you go too far, I'm going to have to move on you. And this is what's happened. But now they're saying Putin, the new Hitler, he wants to take over Europe. He's got no interest in doing any of that. I was quite surprised he even invaded. Because I never believed that he wanted war, brother.
I don't think he wanted war.
Russia didn't want war, but they had to send a signal. Now look at this whole thing now with these people in the occupied territories. You stole that land from those people. 100%. And you settled the land. And you chased the people out of the land like an apartheid. And are you occupying the land, treating the people like animals in their own land? And they've even made these statements themselves. We are fighting human animals.
And they say, oh, the land was promised to them, but they're not even the children of Israel.
Promised by who?
Exactly.
When? Where?
Yeah.
When did God give these Europeans converts?
And they're Europeans.
European converts. You know, from what we've understood. And who likes it, who don't.
You know what one brother said to me? And I found it kind of like, it's deep. He goes, bro, we're Muslims, so that means Mecca's ours.
Yeah, like that.
It don't work like that.
The Prophet ﷺ described Moses. He didn't describe a European, brother. He described Isa alayhi salam. He did not describe a European.
Yeah.
So my question is, how is it these two religions that weren't revealed in Europe are being run from Europe by Europeans?
And they're really Europeans. This is basically another form of colonization, really.
Brother, they're Ashkenazis. This is what they are. And if you go back to the scripture, the sons of Japheth, one of the sons of Noah alayhi salam, these people are Ashkenaz, and they inhabited the land of the Isles of the Gentiles, meaning north, away from what's now called the Middle East. Historical research will show they were never there. They weren't the people that went to Mount Torah with Musa. It wasn't them. So now their claim to that land is illegitimate. Now, I don't want to be a Jew. And I keep saying to black reverts I have this conversation with, I'm not telling you this because I want to be a Jew or I believe that Hebrew Israelites have some type of legitimacy. I'm not talking about any of that stuff. I'm just saying these people today saying that they're the children of Israel. Call yourself Israelis. Don't say Israelite. You know what I say? Don't say Israelite. Because now,
as a prophet, right?
No, if Israel was Yaqub.
Yeah.
But if they're saying they're Israelites, now you're saying you're from that tribe of Israel.
Okay, they're originally from.
Yeah, so now prove it.
They can't.
Our DNA goes back. Listen, the DNA go back to Ireland and Poland and Russia.
Rush,
You understand?
true, yeah.
These are European converts. So there's a book that I implore people to read. The book has been rubbished and belittled by, as one brother said, the forces of Hizbiyah.
Yeah.
This book has been belittled by the forces of
Oppression.
oppression. Yeah. So the book is called The 13th Tribe, written by an ex-Ashkenazi called Arthur Koestler. And he speaks about the spread of Islam into Eastern Europe and how Islam reached the Caucasus Mountains. So Chechnya and all them places, they're the Caucasus Mountains. We've got Muslims there, Ingushetia, Chechnya and all those places. When the Muslims tried to enter over the Caucasus Mountains, as Ibn Fadlan writes, he talks about meeting these tribes who embraced Judaism so they didn't have to embrace Islam, or they didn't have to embrace Christianity from the Byzantine.
Okay.
So they embraced Judaism
But like, yes,
as a politically expedient move. Because if we join them, the Christians will fight us, and vice versa. So they said, okay, we're going to be Jews. But now, they're studying a book called the Babylonian Talmud, okay? Because they have two Talmuds. They have the Jerusalem Talmud and the Babylonian Talmud. And when the Beni Israel were enslaved in Babylon, they started to take on all of the evil Babylonian traits that had nothing to do with the Torah. So they've inherited a corruption. So in some of their books, like the Torah and the Mishnah, and they're going to make comments. If they watch this, they're going to see in the comment section, he doesn't know what he's talking about and this and that and the other. If need be, we can cite all this information, because I'm not going to come in here and embarrass myself saying things that ain't true.
Yeah.
So in some of their commentaries on the Torah, they will say that when Allah, or when God, when Yahweh made us, he took pieces of himself and he made the souls of us. And when
Yahweh was a prophet.
Yahweh is supposed to be God, Jehovah.
Okay.
Yeah. But when God made the Gentile, meaning the non-Jew, he gave us the souls of animals and clothed us in human flesh so we could be enslaved by them and not look hideous to them.
Wow.
So when these men come out talking about they're killing human animals,
They believed
they
it.
actually believe it. It's theological.
You see, obviously we understand from the point of the occupier, they're Zionists and they got the agenda, whatever. But what benefit, what benefit is it for America and England to be so stubborn in the support for them? Like, it's unwavering no matter what they do. Because obviously they're a different religion or whatever. So what is ultimately their motivation behind this?
Okay, we have a construct called Christian Zionism. Now again, this is a theological belief on the part of the Christians. Excuse me. They do believe that for Jesus, peace be upon him, to return, to bring back this kingdom of heaven on earth and this 1,000-year rule, they believe that the Jews have to have a temple established and an altar to slaughter. And if that doesn't take place, Jesus won't return. So this is why the Christian Zionists support Zionism in Israel. Now I find this strange because in some of their commentaries, they say that Jesus, peace be upon him, is in Jahannam right now. Gehenna, they call it Gehenna. Similar word. That he's right now being boiled in human excrement in the hellfire, Jesus.
The Zionists believe that?
Yeah, the Jews,
Yeah.
they believe this. They don't accept Jesus, peace be upon him.
Okay. Yeah.
So my question to the Christians, if they're saying something so despicable about the son of your God, we don't say that, we don't believe in that. And that's blasphemy.
Of course.
But you people believe that. So the son of your God is being boiled in human excrement, but you're still supporting these people. So they both have an agenda. And the Zionists believe that until they have a temple, that their awaited one, the Messiah, won't come. Because their Messiah was Isa alayhi salam, but they don't believe in his prophethood. And they say some despicable things about Jesus. They say that he's a bastard. His father was a carpenter. His father was a Roman soldier. He's a son of menstruation. This is what they say. They won't admit it to you, but this is what they believe about Jesus. So again, the Christians who are supporting this, like the likes of Ray Hagan, other Christian Zionists, why are you supporting people that have such a hatred for your prophet?
I've got a theory as well. It's a bit out of the box theory, but no doubt we have them Christian Zionists or whatever. But I also believe, like, look, the Judaism, they're waiting for the Messiah, right?
Right, yeah.
The Christians, they're waiting for Isa and the Antichrist.
Yeah.
We as Muslims, we're waiting for Isa alayhi salam
And the Mahdi.
and the Mahdi
And the Dajjal.
Yeah. So I personally believe, don't know who it is, but I believe there's a group of people, they worship the Dajjal. That's what I believe. They believe in the Dajjal. And one of the things they believe is that maybe Dajjal either they believe that maybe he can overpower God somehow, or they believe he is God. One of the two. I don't know which one it is. And I believe a lot of them have read these scriptures and whatever, and they're helping the world. Consciously, subconsciously, I don't know. But they're helping the world prepare. Because I cannot see how, as a human being, you could watch what is going on in Gaza
And be indifferent.
I'll give you an example. If I was walking down the street and someone was slapping a kid, just slapping him, whether that kid was white, Asian, black,
Even Jewish,
it don't matter.
We will stop
But
that.
I will batter that guy.
Yeah, we'll stop that.
I will batter that guy and go to prison for 12 months happily. It was there. I just couldn't stand by and watch that. It was there. So for them to just watch that and just participate in it and fund it, Suella Braverman, Rishi Sunak.
Funding the genocide.
So I believe there's something very deep going on.
Again, we were talking about secret societies.
Exactly, yeah.
And one of the modern secret societies, because Pharaoh had a secret society.
Yeah.
And the modern Freemasons, who took a lot of their theology and spiritualism and their Satanism, they took it from ancient Egypt. And when the Freemasons or when the Templars got wiped out, another cult appeared called the Illuminati or the Illuminists. Now you hear ignorant people today, hey, Jay-Z's in the Beyonce in the Illuminati. Those people are so insignificant. They can affect many people through their evil music.
But they're low level.
They're low level in terms of...
Irrelevant.
No, they're relevant, but they're being used.
Yeah, they're pawns.
Yeah, pawns. As we said, Bob Marley was executed because he was coming with a message that they didn't want to hear. Get up and stand up for your rights. Revolution. Don't believe the system. The CIA. You're not saying all that stuff and you're not going to live. They're going to kill you. But if you're singing their tune, you're going to live. And they can embellish you with riches. And this is why all these guys are rich and spreading all their evil. So putting them aside because they're insignificant pawns. But the real Illuminati, they started around the 1700s. And a man who was European Jew called Meyer Amschel Bauer. He was in Germany. And he sent his sons to the major European capitals to affect the banking system. So Nathan Rothschild, he said, I don't care who's the king of the country or who the premier is. As long as I'm controlling the cash of that country, if I got the central bank, I don't care what's going on. Because if I got the bank, I'm controlling the people. So the Illuminati, the reason why they're called Illuminati, because they say they're the Illuminists, meaning they're the ones who are enlightened.
Okay.
And you other people, you're not enlightened. So we have a duty, a moral duty, to run the world and its proceedings. So the plebeian, the general people who can't think like us, we will preside over you and control your affairs for the betterment of you. But once they're presiding over you, they're providing all the riches. And they're controlling all the money, you know? And for them to keep themselves in these positions, in their hidden positions, they'll do anything. Anything. So when we talk about Sunak and those guys, they ain't the puppet masters. They're the puppets.
They're puppets, yeah, 100%. Yeah.
They're the puppets. And for the most part, we will never see the people that are orchestrating this confusion. But war makes money.
100%, yeah.
The industrial war, since war has become industrialized, like during and after the Industrial Revolution, nobody's chucking spear. If you want to make a spear, you just go to a tree and cut the thing off and make your bow or whatever. Yeah. But now you need munitions. Costs money.
Chemicals.
Yeah, it costs money. And follow the money. See who's supplying these weapons and who are the CEOs of these companies and where these companies are based. You know the Sunak guy? I learned a lot from that brother Loki. I learned a lot from this brother.
Oh, he's very Loki is on point.
Yeah, come on.
He's on point, man.
And I think that you should try and interview him.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get him on, inshallah.
You try and interview him, but a lot of his work, I respect it. It's academic. It can't be refuted. And Sunak, alayhi lana, I mean, he's got shares in companies that are supported by these people occupying these territories, bruv. And it's not just ordinary companies. These are companies that have intelligence agencies for there and here. And they've got vast wealth invested. So why do you think he's supporting this movement? He's not supporting it for no reason.
The other day I was watching a podcast with Joe Rogan and Tucker Carlson. I don't really know nothing about Tucker Carlson. I just know he's a very big media personality. I've been told that he was racist. He's kind of like a white supremacist. But I don't know what, but something told me watch this podcast. And the first time I've ever watched a podcast off his, basically. I've never even really watched his interview and interviewing other people. Bro, I was so engaged with this podcast because he said so many deep things in there. He said he was brainwashed by America. He said he was brainwashed and he would believe anything they told him. It was like the haqq. But now he's changed his opinions. And like, bro, I'll be honest with you, I don't know if he's racist or not. If I was to just go on that podcast, I don't believe he's racist. If I was just to go on that podcast, but I don't know. I don't know his opinions in detail, and I don't know his position on Gaza and stuff like that. Because I don't know if he actually spoke about that. There's a 3-hour podcast. I got 2 hours into it. But just him admitting he was brainwashed is a big statement. Because you break out the cult, a lot of people can't even break out the cult. So he said, yo, this is nonsense. And that's why he went and interviewed Putin. They didn't want him to do that, right?
Not at all.
They didn't want him to do that. So,
he kind of gave himself a death sentence, in my opinion, when he did that.
You know what? After watching his Joe Rogan thing, I think something's going to happen to him. And you know how deep it is what he was saying, stuff like. So remember, he's not Muslim. I'm not sure if he's Christian. So he was saying that, like these UFO sightings. He said he don't believe they're UFOs. He believes they're entities in this world.
Yeah, I concur with that.
That have supernatural, obviously we believe in jinn. So I was like, wow, this stuff is deep. And he was saying so many things in there where it feels like even he's waking up to what's going on. And he was talking about, secret societies. He said something very important. He said the secret societies are one of the most dangerous things to humanity. Because number one, why are they secret?
You're hiding something. You got something to hide.
You got some evil plans. It's a 3-hour podcast. I watched 2 hours and I'm going to watch the last hour. I hope he talks about Gaza. But as I said, that's a straight cancellation for a lot of people. So he might avoid that. But he was against the Ukraine funding.
Yeah.
He said, no. He said, look, we're meant to be a democracy. Bro, he blasted the democracy in America. He said, we're meant to be a democracy. Most people in America don't want you to give funding to Ukraine, but yet you're giving it. So he's saying this is not a democracy. This is a sham. Bro, he's going in. And watching 2 hours of it, I said to myself, yo, this guy might be in trouble, you know.
You see where he said he was brainwashed, and it's big of him to come out and say this.
I'll put the clip up. I'll put the clip up in this when he says that.
I've been saying recently that the human mind is very fragile, excuse me, and easy to manipulate. And I'll give you an example. Although I was a Muslim and I was kind of fully aware of what was going on when Iraq was attacked for the second time, and Tony Blair, Saddam Hussein has battlefield munitions that can be deployed in 45 minutes. You're lying. I had to keep telling myself he's lying because he's so convincing. I had to keep telling myself he's lying. He's lying. He's lying. Why? The human mind's fragile. So Hitler had a propaganda minister called Joseph Goebbels, and he said, a lie is a lie once, but if you tell it 99 times, it becomes a truth.
Yeah.
So in the fog of war, you understand, these people will tell you one lie and keep repeating it until people start believing it. So I'm not surprised he said he was brainwashed, because most people are.
I respect him for saying that.
Yeah, being honest, most people are brainwashed. So if somebody who's as intelligent as Tucker Carlson, as him is, how intelligent he is, shouldn't people that are less intellectual, shouldn't they see, well, hold on, if he got duped, what about me?
Exactly, yeah.
People need to wake up and smell the coffee, Ak.
You know, I'll recommend a lot of people to watch that. I reckon it might get taken down. It might get taken down, yeah? Because, you know, that's what these people do. Find something he said in there wrong and get it pulled, you know? And like you said, an educated person like that is kind of waking up and looking like, this is kind of mad.
I would say to people as well, watch the Putin interview. Watch the Putin interview.
Yeah.
That's very important. It's long, but watch it.
You know, like, we're Muslim at the end of the day. We believe Islam is the truth. But we have nothing against Christians. We have nothing against any other religion. Do you understand what I mean? But one thing, good and bad is clear. Do you understand what I mean? Good and bad is clear. And we have to, no matter what religion you are, you have to be on the side of good. You understand what I mean? But some people, they know something is evil and yet they support it.
You see, there's a statement, I think it was from Karl Marx. And he said something like, religion is the opiate of the masses. Meaning that get rid of religion, all it does, it keeps people subdued, like under a state of being intoxicated by opium or something. Now this is an evil statement, you understand?
Very evil. Because
religion, for the most part, especially the Abrahamic religions, if you want to call it that for brevity, if people follow those, we have more in common than we have against each other, the Jews, the Christians and the Muslims. And common decency from these religions, if people are being honest, will keep us away from this infighting. But when he says that it's an opiate for the masses, religion, no, look at the other opiates that people have. Alcohol, sex, money, power. So you think people are going to leave that stuff to go and look at Putin talking?
It's true, yeah.
And Joe Rogan? This is too deep. Give me EastEnders. Give me Coronation Street.
You know, the way the mind's been like kind of programmed now is too heavy for their mind. Yeah.
Switch off. I don't want to hear that stuff. Don't talk about death. I ain't ready to hear that. Religion and politics, stay away from that. It causes problems because people have been indoctrinated to believe this so much. Oh, never talk about religion and politics. And it's always a certain type of people that say this.
Yeah.
But true. Then your intellectuals, like Tucker Carlson, say, no, wake up. We've been brainwashed. Now, to be a good American patriot, a good American citizen, you've got to stand, yes.
You have to be a blind follower.
The other cults that we know about. You've got to be a blind follower. And the thing with cults is this, and this is for our Muslim brothers that are blindly following people, some more than others. When you can't question your leader, then you're in a cult.
100%. The only person we don't question is the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. That's the only human that we don't question.
So if you find yourself in a situation where you've got a leader or leaders that can't be questioned, even when you can see clearly they're doing wrong, and you go against your own fitrah and your own consciousness, you know he's doing wrong, but still you don't call him out.
That's a cult.
And there might be a person that you go against is doing the same, has the same misdemeanor, the same shortcoming, but you don't see it in your leader, but you see it in the other people. You are in a cult.
That's the hadith, the hadith about the log in the eye. So basically, to summarize it, you're looking at a man's mistakes when you've yourself got something to focus on, basically, I can't remember the word for word.
You judge, you listen, you decide.
It's true, man. I think this is a time that people really need to turn back to God, to Allah. That the Savior's only in there, bro. We're going, you know what I kind of get shook off sometimes. There's one thing I do get shook off. Do you know this? I believe it's in the Quran, when Allah's punishment will come down on the people. So if you look at, for example, that place in Italy, Pompeii, that they were in their sin, and the punishment of God came down and destroyed the whole land. And that's obviously, that's more like, in Europe, but we
contemporary times.
We know stories from the Quran and stuff like that. So it's like we have reached a level of sin that I don't think ever in humanity this many sins was going on at the same time.
You know what I believe is all of the evil empires that passed before, they all merged into one today.
This is what I'm trying to say. So I think it's very important to understand God and understand what God wanted. And I reckon, what I think is, dawah is very important. To give people dawah gently, and because bro, they're brainwashed, minds are polluted, these vaccines they're putting in people and babies, what are they doing to us? I don't know, it was there. But to give dawah, and one thing I remember for you, one thing I remember, because bro, you might not know it, but you were one of the people that gave me dawah, bro. To come back to the religion, So what had happened, I've come out of prison. I know this is about 4 months before I left the road. 5 months. 4 or 5 months before I left the road. So I was by the favourite chicken, by the nightclubs. I think I was going to a club that night. And I think you were doing taxis.
I remember the night.
You remember the night? So I was out, they had my Rolex on, that's what everyone kind of like hangs out or whatever. I had my Rolex on, my gold and whatever. And I saw you. And I was like, oh damn, Naz, he's gonna diss me. Because I was linking gal and whatnot. So I remember I tucked in the Rolex. Not because I'm scared, but I know I'm doing wrong, innit? And I was there. And the brother was on his deen or whatever. So I remember I tucked in the Rolex. I should fear Allah, of course, and I did. But we lost, innit? And it was there. I remember I tucked in the Rollie and whatever, and you came. And I thought, he's gonna blast me now. Like, what you doing? And it was there. And I remember all you said to me, I think that's the first time you saw me when I come out of prison. I think all you said, bro, you know the truth. Like, you know the truth. And that's all you said. But then we just start talking about normal stuff, and whatever. And that always stayed with me, when you said that to me. It was there. A lot of men would have just judged. I look at my man's come out and like he's doing stupidness again and whatever. But I think you kind of recognized, didn't it, that obviously he has some Islam in him. It was there. Man cultivated that. So I always remember you said, and that stays with you. And obviously once you've left, it was there. I'm left thinking about it, innit? Like, bro, I do know the truth. And I do know, what I'm doing is wrong or whatever. And I will never forget that, because remember at that time, that was in my peak, innit? And I wanted to live that life and whatever. But that shows the power of dawah. That shows the power of just one statement.
It's a reminder,
It's a reminder. You just made one statement, bro. You know the truth. And that's the power of Allah, Islam. It was there that it could turn you back.
Yeah.
And whatever. Because people, a lot of people don't understand. Like, I was in a position that people would die to be in, as you know. It was there. Like, I was in a position that people kind of like...
If you were a kafir, you would have been nice.
Bro, but it's
more than nice.
You understand? Like, you're the boss, basically.
Yeah.
It was there, like, you're the last call. So for Islam to come and just make you reject all that, it shows the power and it was there and whatever. So I was watching this thing on YouTube the other day. Some guy, I don't think he's a Muslim, but he was going to Muslims in Ramadan. Said, no, if I give you this, if I give you that, would you break your fast? £200 or whatever. And everyone said no. And I was like, bro, you do understand if you offered £1 billion, they'll probably still say no. That's the power of the religion, actually, the deen was there. But our job is to put it to the people gently. You understand what I mean?
Have you noticed over the years, I personally, that rough and tough, that beat down thing.
Yeah, it don't work.
I've never been on that.
Yeah, never been on that. It don't work, Aki.
Aki, I've always been in opposition to that stuff.
But Naz, do you know why that is?
Because people ain't sincere.
But also, you know what it is? You lived that street life. So you understand what people are going through. It was there. I understand what the drug dealer's going through. It was there. I understand what they're going through. So for me to sit on YouTube and bash them out, you're this, you're that, you're scum, you're this. Actually, I mentioned in my podcast with Smile to Jannah, when Allah sent Musa alayhi salam and his brother Harun to Pharaoh to give him dawah. Pharaoh was one of the worst humans that ever lived, actually.
The worst.
The worst. Is that correct, yeah? One of the worst of the worst. Allah knows best. Allah said to them, speak to him with gentle speech.
Offer up a kind word.
Kind word. Akhi.
Perhaps.
And don't get me wrong, that he didn't listen, Allah dealt with them. Bro, our job is to just give the message. He was there. If they don't listen, then Allah might deal with them. Allah might forgive them. We don't know.
We're not the custodians of humanity.
Exactly.
And we don't know who's going to embrace and who ain't.
Exactly.
If somebody would have told me that I was going to be a Muslim, and no way.
Never believed it, innit?
No way.
You understand? I can't be honest with you, someone told me that, like, you know, you give up everything for Islam. I would never believe that when I was 18 years old. You're mad.
But that's the power of the theology behind what we believe as Muslims.
I know.
Because when we revisit the fact that, okay, there's an architect to the universe, just like how this microphone that we're speaking into, it's got a designer and it's got an architect, and they made the microphone for a purpose. But this is just a microphone. What about the human? The human body is taking on all these different chemical analysis at the same time. I'm speaking to you now. I'm hearing my speech. The time between my thought process and my speech pattern, it's simultaneous. Who designed that?
Deep in it.
Who's put that into us? We eat food. The food falls into our large intestine, and there's acids in there. It's got a pH balance that will break down the nutrients out of the food, and your body will absorb the benefit and get rid of the waste. You ain't got to sit down with some laptop plugged into your belly, programming it to make it work. Who designed that? Which one of the favors of your Lord will you deny? The cameras that are facing us now, these cameras, they work on the same principle as the eye and the pupil. But we don't have to do refraction of light and distance to see each other. It's just happening through the wondrous creation of the Creator. So likewise, people made these devices that we're using today. Who made us and the universe? So one person took Shahada in Ramadan over the phone. In fact, I told him to go to a Lewisham Masjid because he's from Lewisham and he's rang us to take Shahada. And I'm saying, but you got a masjid down the road, but where he doesn't know. But he said one of the things that made him start thinking that his partner was a Muslim girl. And she's on a thing like, you got to be Muslim before we can get married and stuff. I'm like, well, may Allah sort your situation out because it's just a madness. But anyway, he said that he's been around Muslims in his country and he's seen Muslims here, and for the most part, everything that he's been told he agrees with. So he wants to take Shahada. But the first or the last of the questions he had was, why can't he see God? Why can't he not see God? So we explained to him that Musa alayhi salam, he's a Nabi of Allah, he's a prophet of Allah. And God called him to the right side of the mount. And what Musa attracted to go to the mountain, he saw a bush that wasn't burning. It was burning but not being consumed. So the English rendition of the ayah, he said to his wife, you wait here, because this is something strange. Musa being a brave man, not like us. Musa's a man, brother.
Real.
Man. Not no boy, he's man. Not male, man. So, bruv, you have to realize this is desert. It's dark. He's on his ones. So he's gone up the mountain, bruv. The Quran don't say how long it took or how far it was. It spares us those details. But he's gone to the mountain and he's got to this bush and the bush is burning and not being consumed. That's the thing what attracted him there. A miracle of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So then Allah speaks to him and says, oh, Musa, I'm your Lord. There's no God but me. So Musa's always believed. So he's fallen into prostration. And Allah says, yeah, if I take off them shoe there, holy ground you're standing on. So Musa takes off his shoes and God spoke to him and said, you must go to Pharaoh, which we know subsequently did happen. But how was it the bush is burning and not being consumed? Miracle number one. Number two, Musa hearing God directly. There's no Jibreel involved in this. You understand? Imagine God talking to you, brother. You're going to be shook. Again, Musa, man. You understand? So the Beni Israel, they've gone to the mountain with Musa on the second occasion. And they said to Musa, ask your Lord. See them? Ask your Lord if we can see him. So Musa kind of petitions on their behalf because he wants good for them. So Musa says, you know, Allah, can we see you? Because it kind of strengthens us. So Allah says, I will reveal something of myself to this mountain. And Allah revealed something of himself and the mountain turned to dust. Musa and his companions, they died and they were resurrected. And Moses said, I make Tawbah and I'm the first of the believers. And I repent for making such a foolish request. So they didn't see Allah. You understand? But whatever Allah revealed from his might and his glory just caused mayhem. So we can't see God in this life and live. So then I said to him to summarize, can you look at the sun on a sunny day, a clear sunny day? No. So how then do you expect to look at the creator of the sun?
Can't handle it, bro.
The man said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah.
MashaAllah. To the Shahada there and then.
Yeah.
That's deep, man.
And while we're talking about Lewisham, I send my salams to Imam Shakil. I don't see him for about 20 cut years. I don't even know if you remember me. But I used to pass through there with Abu Layla back in the day. Shakur.
You remember you?
Yeah.
Imam Shakur's got a good memory.
Yeah, he should remember, man, still.
MashaAllah, yeah. The system's upset with him, man, giving too many people the Shahada right now.
Yeah, man. A nice brother, that still, you know.
Man, well, what parting advice, before we finish this podcast, would you give to the Muslims and the non-Muslims? Obviously, remember your background, your family's non-Muslim, and whatever. What advice would you give to the Muslims and the non-Muslims?
Firstly, we'll start with the non-Muslims. I would humbly say, use critical thinking. Think of the way that you stand, the way you sit, the way you lie down, the way that you think. Think of the way that the sun and the moon alternate in rapid succession, giving us night and day. Think of the way that the rain falls upon the greenery and the animals that give us food for our sustenance. Think about the orchestrator of all these events and the creator of all these events. And if you find in your heart that you believe that there has to be an architect, do some more research. Or contact the podcast, speak to a Muslim.
Contact Lewisham Masjid, man.
Yeah, if you're in London. Or any of the masjids in London.
Masjids, yeah.
Try and, again, like I said, be critical thinkers, question. Because if you don't question, you won't get the answers. And sometimes the best answers come from your inner self. You don't need anyone else. Everybody has this fitrah or this natural disposition to know that there's a creator. But our parents or the society we live in, they'll turn down the volume or the recognition that there is a creator. Because if you don't have a guide, other people can guide you. And most of the people that don't want you to believe in God is because they want to be your God. It's as simple as that. They want to replace the creator, the deity, the God with themselves so they can preside over you. And as for the already Muslims, we would say, return home like the prodigal son. Don't wait. You don't know if you're going to wake up tomorrow. You don't know how long you got left in your lifespan. And you don't want to die slipping and offending your creator. You already believe, so come home.
Exactly, yeah.
Come home, you're welcome. The door is always open.
You know, one thing that I will say as well, that always kind of like, the story makes me, it gives me like peace. You know the story of Musa alayhi salam? So when the angel of death came to him, he punched the angel of death.
Yeah.
Knocked his eye out, I think, right?
Knocked his eye out, yeah.
He knocked out the eye of the angel of death. And people say, why did it happen? Because the angel of death came to him in a human form, from what I understand. That's how he knocked his eye out. So obviously, once that's happened, obviously he didn't want to die, innit? You know? So Allah told him, go to the back of an animal with the hairy tail. I can't remember which animal it was. He said,
grab the tail.
Grab the tail and pull it. And bro, you know how many hair will come out, akhi? You know, Musa was a strong man, akhi. Thousands of hair was going to be in there. But Musa alayhi salam said, okay. And then Allah said, how many hair are in there? That's how long you will live. So if there's whatever, 1,000, 5,000, you will live that long. But he said, then after that, then what? Then death. And he realized, didn't it? There's no escaping this. You know what I mean? I've got to deal with this. And we as Muslims, bro, we ain't got no option of 5,000 years, 4,000. It's a very short life, this is, you know? And wallahi, I have seen a lot in my life, akhi, but nothing brings you that peace and tranquility that Islam does. It just doesn't. It's crazy, but you know, and I think to myself, you know, our problem was growing up, we never had a lack of knowledge. We never had that knowledge available to us about the deen and stuff like that. I said, imagine now, we live in an era, the knowledge of Islam is at your hands. It's getting brought to you, number one. And number two, you could do your dunya as well. Halal. You understand what I mean? Do your stuff, make your money, have your family, have your kids, have a good life and whatever. But as human beings, we always want to transgress. We always want to go a bit too far. You understand what I mean? Allah has let us have luxuries in this life. Luxuries, you know, kids, wives, families, you know, cars and whatever. Bro, like this is temporary. It's very, very temporary. What the Prophet said, the average age of my nation is 60, 70 years, I believe he said. And then that's it, bam, then you meet your Lord. You understand what I mean? So I say to a lot of the Muslims, man, this thing you're chasing, in the end, it turns to dust. And what do I mean by that, bro? When you slam in that grave, ain't nothing going with you. It's done. You understand what I mean? So giving up your akhirah for the dunya is just madness.
Yeah, it's not a good tijara. It's not a good trade.
It's not a good trade. You understand what I mean? Like, look, do your deen thing, do your business thing. Alhamdulillah, if they combine, keep it moving. But don't sell out your deen. Because you selling out your religion or selling out your hereafter. You understand what I mean?
If people really knew what was waiting for us in the next realm, people would try and fix up.
Definitely.
Don't get it twisted. We will have sins and transgression. We're not created to be perfect. As the Prophet ﷺ told us in the Hadith Qudsi, that this is the Hadith that comes straight from God's speech to the Prophet, to the people, where he said, if there was a people that didn't sin, Allah would wipe them out and bring forth a people that did sin, and they would repent and he would forgive them. He would give them penance, you know, clemency. So we can't ever think that anybody's got to be perfect, and it's not possible to be perfect because we haven't been created upon perfection.
Exactly.
So we will sin, but the best of the people are those who repent from their sins and their transgressions after believing.
Inshallah, akhi. But Jazakallah for coming, akhi.
Jazakallah for you, akhi. I hope this is going to be a benefit for the people.
Yeah,
and we just give a shout out to the people of Palestine, because
definitely,
Gaza, you did
West Bank. Actually, they're violating the West Bank now. You know?
Yeah, they are. You know, you said something about we have a good life and a nice existence. We do where we are.
Definitely.
But some people don't have that.
100%.
And Allah knows who to test with what. Listen, them Gazans are some resilient people, bro.
MashaAllah. May Allah preserve them.
I saw some.
And give them victory.
I see some ignorant people amongst the Muslims kind of mocking them. You understand? And I know that if you was there, oh mocker, you're the first one to sell out.
100%.
You understand? But those guys and Hasbi Allah and that man were killed. Akhi, when I first saw this stuff, kids saying it, make water come in my eye, brother. For two reasons. One, because of the iman these people have. And number two, I can't help them. I can send money. What's that? I don't even know if the money's going to get there. I'll give it, but I don't know if it's getting there. We're a people, Aki. We ain't even men right now as a ummah. We're supposed to roll up on these, roll up on this situation and deal with it.
Like, we were meant to like handle any oppression.
Yeah.
Whether it's here, anywhere, man.
Deal with them people that's violating them women and children. That could be my children out there, brother. That could be my wife out there, brother.
It's very deep, man.
And then people going to sit there mocking the thing. Oh, they brought this on themselves. They left Tawheed, what, they kuffar? I don't subscribe to none of that madness.
Yeah, nor do I, Akhi, man. How can you say
I don't care who said it. I don't subscribe to that. It's cold. It's impersonal.
Akhi, you wouldn't even say that about a non-Muslim. You're not going to say, okay, they deserved it because they don't believe in God. You understand what I mean? We're going to sympathize with them. You understand what I mean?
Just make dua. Allah to guide them if that's the case.
Exactly, yeah.
Hey, they do shirk in Palestine.
I ain't never seen it, but...
What, you live in Palestine? Boy, I said them thing there.
Akhi, like I said, man, if your dawah is based upon hating, then you're going to look for things to just pick on and stuff.
To justify your hate.
Exactly, Akhi, man. But guys, thank you for watching. It's been an excellent show. I'll be back soon. Peace. Guys, today's podcast is in partnership with Stone & Co Solicitors, experts in serious and complex criminal matters. If you have a criminal matter that you need help with or you've been arrested and want the best representation, contact the number below or drop them an email. All the information is on the screen below, as you can see. Stone & Co can offer specialist criminal defense services on a private basis or legal aid, so you don't pay nothing. And as a promotional offer, they're offering a case review in person or over the phone, free of charge, no obligation, no fees, and they'll take a look at your case, guys.